Hello, hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dana Atwood of Atwood Hypnosis, and I started this channel just so that I could share some of my experiences and my knowledge based on my own background with anyone who thinks they might find it helpful. So today I wanted to talk about the four parts of the mind and how it relates to hypnosis, what I do, but also to help you understand why maybe you've been wanting to make some changes in your life. And even though, like, you know better, you're having trouble doing better, maybe. One example might be drinking. Maybe when you go out, you overdrink, and even though you know it's not good for you, you have evidence that it's causing problems, it's really difficult for you to stop. Maybe it's not just drinking, maybe there's some habits of self-sabotage, and you know better than to make these choices, and yet you're still making them, even though cognitively, um, you have the logic, you understand you shouldn't be making those choices, and yet you make them anyway. It's like, why is this? Why did I do that? I know better. So um, that's kind of what I want to get into today. Let's see. I made some notes on my computer so I could easily see it as I talk to you guys. And as you know, I'm not an editor, so you're just going to have to bear with me while I blunder through. Okay, four parts of the mind. You've got the conscious mind, the critical factor, and the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. Conscious, critical factor, subconscious, unconscious. Okay? Your unconscious mind. This is often referred to as the autonomic nervous system. This part handles like your respiration, your heartbeat, things you do without thinking about it. So this includes like responses, okay, like bodily responses. Dr. Ivan Pavlov showed the world that you can change the unconscious mind with something called classical conditioning. This was a theory he discovered. He did an experiment where he would ring a bell and give his dog some food, and over time, he stopped giving the dog food, but still rang the bell. And when he rang the bell, the dog still salivated. So he conditioned the dog to have this bodily response to the stimuli, even though there was no food. So the unconscious mind can be changed through conditioning, through self-hypnosis or hypnotherapy. Your subconscious mind, according to Cal Banyan of Banyan Hypnosis in Texas, many others, the subconscious mind is who you really are. So you were born with kind of this blank slate in your subconscious. And over time, different experiences as you lived your life, these things just started to fill up your subconscious with a massive database of information. You use these experiences to evolve or dictate your beliefs and ultimately your habits. So all the information that you've acquired and filled up in your database has led you to come to certain conclusions, personal truths that you have in your life. And as long as you have those beliefs, you over time also formed habits around those beliefs. So your conscious mind, this is your point of focus. Usually your conscious mind is focused on right here, right now, but you can obviously you can recall a memory and then your point of focus will shift from here and now to the memory, all in your with your conscious mind. So that's your point of focus. This is the problem solving part of your mind, the forefront. We're all familiar with it. We're using it right now. Then we have the critical factor. This might be a new concept for some of you. The critical factor is the filter between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So the filter, So again, you have your point of focus. Maybe you learn some new information and you want that information to pass through to the subconscious so that you can hold those new beliefs on a deeper level and you can make the changes, make new, healthier habits based around the new information. So the filter, the critical factor, will not allow anything that doesn't match or reaffirm what's already in the subconscious to pass through. So if something in the conscious, some new information that you've gotten, if it doesn't match what's already in your subconscious, the filter is not going to let it through. If something already matches, okay, if you have a belief in your subconscious and something in your conscious, some experience you have validates what's already in there, your critical factor is going to let that pass through because it matches. And it's going to actually reaffirm what's already there, and it's going to strengthen the belief system. So yeah, if it matches, come on through, pass through the filter. If it doesn't match, not coming through. If it matches, comes through, strengthens what's already there. You see how over time, this can make it really hard to really build on a new belief system, a healthier belief system. So you can still consciously learn new things, but you won't necessarily make the desired changes based on the new knowledge if that filter is not letting the new data sink all the way in. Obviously, you see it can be very difficult. So, um, let's see. If someone had a life experience, I want to use an example. If someone had a life experience that taught them they were unlovable, because this is so common for clients, and they discovered later that they are lovable, they might still be engaged in habits that are a result of still believing they're unlovable. Maybe they're, like I said earlier, maybe they're self-sabotaging, maybe they're in a struggle to maintain healthy boundaries, even though they know better. So they need to know on the subconscious level, how do we get through the critical factor? So there's a couple ways. One way you can bypass or the critical factor is if something really intense delivers your new information. So this could be trauma. Perhaps a really dangerous situation takes place that instantly instills new truths, and you make changes based on those truths, probably immediately. So like if something really dangerous happened to you, you might become hyper vigilant. You might become distant or untrusting, whereas maybe before you weren't those things. But obviously, a trauma can bypass the critical factor quite easily. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, maybe something really dangerous happened and you took up mixed martial arts and weight training and developed some what we'd consider healthier habits. Not to say you shouldn't still treat the trauma. I think you should. But just those are just some ways that you might react to it based on the new immediate truths that just pass through the critical factor or bypassed it, really. The other way is what I do. It's hypnosis. So with hypnosis, we disengage the filter. We just turn it off so that the new positive data can pass through. Even if it goes against the current belief system, it can still get through to the subconscious. That's the goal. That's like the whole point of hypnosis. So we can use hypnosis to quiet the inner dialogue that's not helpful to whatever it is we're trying to accomplish, and we can focus on the task at hand. It's just an intense amount of focus is essentially what hypnosis is. Ultimately, that makes space for our new desired changes to take hold thanks to bypassing the critical factor. So obviously, the there's an exception to every rule, right? You can have someone that is habit focused. Maybe they just have an insane amount of self-discipline and they force a new habit. And then over time, with repetition, it will get in there. It will get into the subconscious if you can repeat something enough. So maybe you start running every morning and like you just no matter what, you go running. And over time, maybe some like positive things come about from running. Um, maybe before you had a belief system that you weren't healthy. And the the more you run, obviously you physically get healthier, but also you believe you're healthier. And so because you believe you're healthier, maybe you make other changes based on identifying as a healthy person. Maybe now you um, eat differently. You eat a lot more whole foods because you identify and say, well, I'm a healthy person. I mean, this is just a very I know, probably a poor example, but you guys, as long as you get the idea. So, um, so like I said, I'm a hypnotist and I've been trained in two different protocols that are designed to bypass the critical factor. One's called RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy, and the other one is called 5-Path. I'm also certified to teach something called 7th Path Self-Hypnosis, where you can kind of do the positive conditioning yourself over time, and that's really helpful for some people. Actually, a lot of times we take a double approach and we do sessions as well as me teaching them the self-hypnosis because I strongly believe in giving people tools that they can use themselves, tools that they can decide when it's appropriate to pull out of the toolbox. Talk about this a lot in my virtual office here. So if you're interested, you can schedule a consultation with me by visiting my website, www.atwoodhypnosis.com. Um, yeah, I think that's all for today. I just wanted to say if you're having trouble making changes, just the one thing I don't want you to do is be really hard on yourself about it because it's difficult when you've had a whole life conditioning you to be one way, or maybe you weren't that way, but you had a trauma. Like, those are very real experiences. Those are very real barriers keeping you from the changes you want to make. So I think whether you choose hypnosis or just figure something else out. Whatever you do, just be compassionate with yourself. Be kind to yourself. With the self-love example, if you if someone has the belief that they're not lovable and then they make a bad decision based on that belief system and then they learn that they are lovable, um but then they go out and they make a bad decision still because the new information didn't sink in. Um, if you say, "Oh, why'd I do that? I'm so stupid. I'm an idiot. I'll never get anywhere." You are now feeding the original problem instead of supporting the new information. So it's just gonna make it harder and harder. The answer is always love and compassion. I don't care what your problem is. The answer is love and compassion. So, you guys be nice to yourselves, love yourself. You're enough right now, right in this moment. And if you need anything else from me, I'll be at www.atwoodhypnosis.com. Thanks, guys.